Dementia doesn't always begin with memory problems. It often starts with changes in how you talk. Well before anyone forgets faces or names, the brain gives off warnings through very subtle shifts in speech. Here's the scary part. They're the only one who notices it at first. One day, they can't find a certain word. Soon after, they mix up words or phrases and don't realize it. Suddenly, their way of speaking sounds odd, unfamiliar even to their family members. These speech changes may show up as early as 10 years before dementia is diagnosed, but most people fail to see them in themselves. That's why loved ones, close friends, have to be the first to spot these signs before things progress too far. When you spot these clues, the brain has already started declining. Unless something is done, the situation will get worse. Noticing these signals early is the best chance to slow or even prevent lasting harm. If you care about someone, don't overlook these signs. Before we get into these life-saving details, make sure to hit subscribe and tap the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss a single tip that could protect you or your loved ones from the early warning signs of dementia. Let's get started. Number 1. Using incorrect words without realizing it. This isn't like typical word-finding trouble, where someone just can't recall the right word. Instead, they swap words with completely unrelated ones, often speaking with total certainty, not realizing there's an error. One clinical study connected this speech shift to faulty neural pathways, making the brain send mixed signals and swap words at random. This goes beyond ordinary forgetfulness. It points to the brain losing its skill at linking words to their meanings. For instance, someone might say cluck when they mean microwave, or call a dog a jacket, or a TV a window. At first, these mistakes can seem funny or harmless, but over time they get more common and tougher to fix. The person might not even know they're wrong, even when corrected. This can cause frustration or denial. Feeling anxious or tired makes the problem worse, bringing more frequent and bigger mix-ups. A real case, Barbara, a 74-year-old retired government worker, started calling her cat the table. She looked right at it and said, "Come here, table." Her family thought it was a joke at first, until she started greeting other household items. A brain scan revealed her mind was struggling to match words with what they meant. If you're finding this video helpful so far, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Your honest feedback is important to us. Second, losing the ability to follow conversations. Even a casual talk suddenly feels like too much. Someone with early dementia can find it tough to keep up, especially in group settings. If several people are talking or the pace is fast, it's even harder to follow. Research shows this happens because the brain can't keep up with spoken language, making it difficult to process words and answer smoothly. They might ask, "Wait, what was that?" or regularly hesitate to join a conversation, take longer to respond, or look lost or distracted. Sometimes they'll just nod along, not really understanding. As dementia gets worse, they may start avoiding conversations altogether, stepping back from social settings to hide their difficulties. Here's a true example. David, 71, always enjoyed dinner parties, but talks became draining. His wife noticed he was more reserved and less involved than before. When she asked, he admitted he couldn't follow what was being said. He would forget comments seconds after hearing them. His family became concerned and took him for a checkup, where doctors diagnosed mild cognitive impairment. Third, less emotion in speech. Dementia doesn't only take away memory, it slowly changes personality. It affects how someone speaks, reacts, and shows feeling. Specialists say people in early dementia slowly lose the ups and downs in their voice. Their speech turns flat, monotone, almost robotic, missing the natural changes that show emotion. This happens as brain areas in charge of tone and emotional expression start to weaken. As a result, they might stop showing excitement, frustration, or joy in their voice, even during moments that would usually spark feelings. Over time, their voice can sound cold or detached, making conversations feel distant and less engaging. Real case. Linda, a 69-year-old grandmother, was once full of kindness and humor, but her daughter noticed something chilling. Her voice had lost its normal spark. Whether talking about her favorite TV show or a family gathering, she spoke in the same flat, emotionless tone. This change was the first clue that she was starting to develop dementia. Number 4. Often losing track of thoughts. A person with early dementia may begin a sentence, then suddenly pause. Their mind goes empty. They have trouble picking up where they left off. They forget what they were saying, leaving thoughts unfinished. A large study found that as dementia sets in, the brain struggles to hold on to the thread of a conversation, making it tough to organize ideas in real time. This causes long breaks, mid-sentence, as they try to remember their point. Sentences trail off without ending, leaving listeners uncertain. Moments of hidden frustration as they search for words that won't come. Increased use of filler words like he, or you know to buy time while trying to get their thoughts back. Over the years, these interruptions become more frequent and more intense, making everyday conversations tiring and discouraging for both the speaker and those nearby. Real case: Mark, 80, noticed something odd. He would start to speak, but suddenly lose his train of thought. He'd pause, shake his head, and say, "Never mind, I lost it." At first, his wife thought it was just age, but when he and their child struggled, they sought help. Tests confirmed early dementia. A person in early dementia may ask the same question again and again, even after it's been answered, or they may repeat entire phrases in conversation without realizing it. Experts say this happens because the brain fails to keep short-term speech patterns, making the person unaware they've already said something. As things progress, these repetitions become more frequent and stubborn, often upsetting family members who don't know it's an involuntary symptom. They may also reuse certain words or sentences in different talks, as if their mind is stuck on repeat. This can make talks more repetitive and disconnected, leaving loved ones unsure how to react. Real case: Margaret, 67, kept asking, "Did I take my medicine?" And after her husband answered, she would also repeat, "It's a nice day outside," multiple times in the same conversation, sometimes just moments apart. Her family thought she was just distracted or nervous. But as it became a daily thing, they grew worried. After visits to the doctor with their daughter, they realized it wasn't just forgetfulness. It was an early sign of dementia. Dementia isn't just about being forgetful, it's a breakdown of brain function. A new report shows that once dementia reaches advanced stages, 93% of patients do not survive beyond 5 years. But here's the key: spotting these early speech changes is the only way to stop it before it goes too far. The next 4 signs are even more alarming, and the most surprising one is still ahead. If you're still watching, comment 1 and hit the like button to let us know you're with us. Number 6. Mixing up pronouns and verb tenses. Instead of saying, "He went to the store," they might say, "They go to the store." They mix up past and present, saying things like, "I go there yesterday." At first, these slips seem minor, but as time goes on, they get more frequent and less predictable, mostly without the person noticing. Research suggests that dementia patients regularly mix up pronouns and tenses and struggle to form sentences in a clear way. As the illness progresses, their speech may get more choppy, making it hard for others to follow what they're saying. This isn't just a minor mistake, it's a sign the brain can't properly organize language or understand time-related concepts, leading to greater confusion in daily life. Real case: Carlos, 77, started mixing up pronouns and tenses in regular conversation. He would say things like, "She is my son," or "I go to church last week," leaving his family puzzled. At first they thought he was joking, but as these mistakes became more common and strange, they knew something was wrong. A cognitive test revealed what they feared: early onset dementia. Number 7. Struggling to find the right words. You know what you want to say, but the right word just won't appear. Instead, you pause, struggle to recall the correct word, or accidentally use a different one. The frustration grows as your brain searches, but nothing fits. Studies show that people in the early stages of dementia often swap words, using placeholders like "thing" or "that stuff" instead of the actual term. Over time, they may depend more on vague descriptions rather than naming objects, saying things like, the round thing you eat with, instead of spoon. This is because the brain's word-finding network weakens, making it harder to pull up even basic vocabulary. If this pattern gets worse, it can lead to long silences, half-finished sentences, or frustration in conversation. Real case: Anna, a 66-year-old retired teacher, first noticed something was wrong when she couldn't remember basic words while talking to her grandkids. Instead of saying refrigerator, she'd say, "that cold thing." At first, her family brushed it off as normal aging, but when it became a daily issue, they got medical advice. A brain scan confirmed early-stage Alzheimer's. Number 8. Using shorter, simpler sentences. Someone who once spoke smoothly now cuts sentences short, removing details and complexity. Instead of saying, "I went to the store, picked up some groceries, and stopped for coffee," they say, "went store, got food, had coffee." Their speech gets choppy and broken, making conversations feel unnatural. A major study found that sentence length and complexity shrink in early cognitive decline. As the brain struggles to link thoughts, it compensates by making speech simpler. Over time, this pattern gets worse, making responses sound robotic, unclear, or overly short. The person might also pause more often or use plain phrases instead of descriptive words. Real case: John, a 70-year-old former journalist, was known for his rich storytelling. But as time passed, his speech became oddly brief. Instead of sharing details about his day with his wife, he'd just say, "walked dog, saw friend, came home." The change was stark, but his family thought he was simply tired, until tests found mild cognitive impairment turning into dementia. Number 9. Slurred or slowed speech. Dementia doesn't only affect memory, it can physically change speech, making the person's voice more difficult to understand over time. A clinical study connected early dementia to poorer coordination of the tongue, vocal cords, and lips, causing speech to sound slurred, slower, or muffled. At first, this might seem like occasional tiredness or minor confusion. But as cognitive problems grow, speech can become more jumbled or hesitant. Some people may have trouble pronouncing certain words, or pause mid-sentence as their brain struggles to manage vocal muscles. If a person's speech suddenly becomes slower, softer, or less clear, it could be a sign of neurological decline that should never be ignored. Real case: Diane, an 83-year-old retired nurse, developed a slow, almost slurred way of speaking. Her words were stretched out, and she struggled to say syllables she'd never had trouble with before. Thinking it was a small speech problem, her family waited months before seeking testing. Doctors found she had vascular dementia. If these speech changes are happening, your brain, or your loved one's brain, is already harmed. This isn't just aging, it's neurological decline. And once it starts, it won't stop by itself. That's why prevention is so important. Build up your brain now, because once damage is done, there's no reversing it. Before you go, pause for a moment. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet, so you never miss our practical health tips. Which speech sign stood out to you the most? Drop your thoughts, questions, or stories below. Your comments inspire us to keep sharing life-changing health advice, and if you found this helpful, please share it with someone you care about.